What's up, YouTube? It's time for a review of the new Weezer record, Pacific Daydream, out this past Friday, October 27th. This is a funny one because as big of a Weezer fan as I am, somebody who owns every single record they've made, I wasn't actually dying to hear a new Weezer album anytime soon. Mostly just because their last album, which was the self-titled White album that they dropped in April of last year, that record just left me so fully satiated as a fan. I fucking loved that record. If you followed this channel, you'll remember that last year I ranked it in the top 10 albums of 2016. And here we are a year and a half later, and I'm still constantly listening to that record. I'm still loving so many songs from it. So a new Weezer album wasn't really high up on my priority list for 2017. The White album was such a, I don't want to call it a return to form because then that would imply that there haven't been good Weezer records recently, which there have. But when I think chronologically about the Weezer catalog, the White album has to be my favorite record since, at the very minimum, the Green album or Maladroit. And those records came out fucking 15 years ago. So yeah, the White album is awesome. Most of the songs just had this wonderful, lighthearted summertime bounce to them. Songs like Wind in Our Sail and Jacked Up. And honestly, if I had to pick one song that's my favorite song from all of 2016 across all genres, it might be Girl, We Got a Good Thing. So yeah, I was just really happy to see Weezer firing on all cylinders, and I think it's pretty safe to say that their fans were too. Now, very shortly after the White album, there were already talks of a follow-up, which we were all led to believe would be called the Black album. Because, you know, Metallica, Spinal Tap, Jay-Z, Weezer, why not? Let's all make a fucking Black album. But I guess as it turns out, this one, Pacific Daydream, just happened to come together first. And the Black album is still coming. It's tentatively slated for a 2018 release somewhere around May. But for now, this is the brand new Weezer album that we have. It's their 11th now. Just like the White album, it's 10 songs, 34 minutes long, very quick, very digestible. The only question here is it as good as the White album? In short, no. It's as simple as that. And it's not even this is like a bad Weezer record at all. It's just an aggressively mediocre one with a few shining moments. Unfortunately, the track list could not start with less momentum with the opener, Mexican Fender, which is by far my least favorite song on the whole record. It just kicks this album off with this super dull, lifeless chord progression that it's a chord progression that has been used a gazillion times in pop punk alone, forget just across all of music. And on top of that, I really don't like frontman Rivers Cuomo's sort of whiny vocal delivery in this beginning section here. It's a little bit irritating, and between the vocals and the chord progression that I don't like, it really creates a pretty deflating 1-2 punch. Lyrically, Mexican Fender is a bit of a story track about this summer fling, and according to Rivers himself, it's about a completely real person, which that's pretty cool. It gives it sort of an authenticity. And what's even better is that Rivers himself visited the annotation site genius.com and annotated the lyrics to this song with pictures of supposedly real text messages and correspondences that I guess inspired the song. So the whole premise is cute and everything, just musically the song puts me to sleep. It's a real slow start to this record. And then 2 tracks later, there's also the song Feels Like Summer, which was technically the lead single for this record because it came out way back in March when we all still thought the Black album was coming. But I remember when it came out, it was around St. Paddy's Day because I was writing about it on my blog. I remember I was lukewarm on it then, and I'm maybe a bit more positive on it now. I'm still a bit bothered by just how repetitive the chorus is, and not only that, but those actual core 4 notes that are being repeated weren't even appealing to begin with. And sonically, this song just feels like the most produced moment on the album. Just this whole underbelly of this chorus, it doesn't really feel organic. I sit there and I struggle to even find the guitars in there. But where Pacific Daydream starts to redeem itself a bit is just this great run of tracks right smack dab in the middle. Happy Hour, Weekend Woman, QB Blitz, Sweet Mary, all great. That main melody in Happy Hour, which is first introduced by the guitars and it kind of carries over to the piano, just so fucking sexy. Seriously, that it makes me feel like I'm just chilling on a beach somewhere in California with a bunch of hot chicks. It's such an escapist song. And having said that, what's so interesting about this song is that the lyrics are so fucking sad. It's Rivers, or at least his character, because it does reference having a job and a boss, which I'm pretty sure Rivers does not have. He's just longing for any sort of escape from his lonely, in his words, crushing reality. Just sitting and daydreaming and fantasizing about living carefree, even if it's just for that slot of the day between 5 to 8, where people tend to set it aside for some socializing, some drinks, some laughs, some decompression. This song is just a brilliant contrast between the music and the lyrics. It's almost as if the narrator is sitting there dreaming up a soundtrack to go along with his visions of escape and freedom. Sweet Mary is another great song. It begins as a bit of a ballad and then proceeds to build into more of an upbeat pop rock song. Classic pop structure here though, with the chorus coming before a verse even happens. You know the old saying, don't bore us, get to the chorus. You know, excuse the lazy, convenient adjective here, but this song really does have such a sugar-sweet sound to it with the wonderful blend of acoustic and electric guitars that are then mixed in with the bells that are very prominent. I can say the same thing tenfold for the song Weekend Woman, which just pulls off this massively full chorus. Really, for the whole song, there are so many moving parts here. And this song is where I noticed the one standout, kind of defining quality that links all the great tracks on this record. And that's just a really stellar mix, and more importantly, a really rewarding attention to detail when it comes to panning all these different instruments. Like on Weekend Woman, when I listen with studio headphones, initially in that first verse, there's a clean guitar on one side, and then there's this crunchy guitar doing a bit of rhythmic accenting on the other side. Then when the pre-chorus comes, all of a sudden there's this lovely bell melody on one side, and then there's a fully distorted electric guitar on the other. And it's playing something a bit contrasting. It's like these different parts are sliding into place around your head. And same goes for the second verse, and it just makes this song such a rich listening experience with these different melodies and different instruments coming out of different sides simultaneously. It makes it feel so scatterbrained, yet so cohesive. And as soon as I noticed this, I then realized that the song QB Blitz, which is another one of my favorites, has a pretty similar thing going on. But then unfortunately, with these last few tracks on this album, we're just right back into some pretty unexciting, pretty uneventful territory. I guess I'll single out the song Get Right as the most vanilla of these last three tracks. But yeah, I don't really have much else to say about this record other than that, for me, it pretty much exists just within that run of 4 tracks in the middle, and then it's bookended by stuff that I could really just take or leave. You know, I can't imagine that my overall verdict on this record is a super unpopular opinion or anything, especially coming out of the White Album, which was so great. I'm sure there are a lot of other Weezer fans out there who feel pretty similarly to how I feel. You know, kind of indifferent, maybe positive on a few tracks. It's not like this record is make-believe or anything. It's not a disastrous record. It's a bit underwhelming, I guess. But as far as Weezer's future output, I have absolutely zero hope lost based on this record. Because, you know, Rivers still sounds so great as a vocalist. I mean, the guy sounds exactly the same as he did in 1994. It's remarkable. And Weezer as a band still sounds like Weezer. It just so happens that this was not their strongest batch of songs. That's really all that happened here. I'm not even upset about it as a fan. I'm still enjoying the White Album, honestly. I'm still going to look forward to the Black Album, and I've still got high hopes. And I guess until then, I'll just keep coming back to the few songs on Pacific Daydream that really did do it for me. So, look, not the end of the world here, guys. Pacific Daydream gets a 5 out of 10 from me. As always, thanks so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe, leave a comment, or shoot me a message so we can continue to talk music, and I'll see you guys soon.